How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to be talking about the Squid Games. I missed talking about this because it came out right when I went on December break. I went to Mexico. Very fun being on the beach. I really enjoy it. And then when I got back, I've just started school, and that whole entire mentality has been taking me apart. But I loved this. The first season of Squid Game is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. I would say globally, like talking about anything outside of produced in the United States, it probably is my favorite. And I think that the reason being, it is just something so different, and the message is something so it's so deep in your mind that you really start to notice these things that you really didn't before. And I think that is one of the great things that you can do as a director, being able to leave your audience thinking about something different. There's a bit of a time gap between these two properties. I think the first season of Squid Game was like 2 or 3 years ago, and I think that they do allude to that in the show, how he was in the games, and then 3 years later he finds the recruiter again. If you didn't think that was going to happen, then you're actually then you don't like watching trailers. You don't like watching the show. It's been out for 2 months. Spoilers are going to be coming. I don't care. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the show, what I liked, what I didn't like. And at the end, just give a bit of a review. There's going to be a season 3 coming out in June or July of this year. So they have planned to make this because season 2 ends in a bit of a cliffhanger. So they're planning on doing it in a way where we have the first season, second season, and then third season, trying to get them together so that people aren't disinterested in the property, but they do have to build up a bit of hype to watch it. Kind of like how Invincible killed off its hype, which I will be talking about probably before this video, actually, because Invincible season 2 comes out in like 5 days from recording this. So I want to get to that. I want to get to being able to speak about that. But yeah, kind of like how they did it there, where they lost a lot of hype for the show. Let's talk about the Squid Game, especially season 2, because that's what I'm talking about. There's a lot going on in the show. A lot of people, I was in class and people were talking about it. A lot of people didn't like how slow it was or how disconnected it felt from the first season. I can agree with only one of those. I will argue that this show feels quicker. This season feels quicker than the first season. They vote to leave, and then it has its pacing a bit more spread out. Do I dislike that? No. I think that it's something that makes the show incredibly well and incredibly well paced. We get to spend our time with characters individually, find out their motivations, find out why they're there, especially with like Sang-woo, who's there, and he's supposed to be like the success of the family. What is he doing there? A lot of things that happen in the first season, you can see why the spacing was there. And I think that the reason why a lot of people will argue about the spacing is because of it's been like 3 years since we had the first season, so you think that it's going to be quicker, it's going to establish itself quicker, which it does. By the end of the first season, not by the end of the first and second episode, we already have extremely intense scenes between Gi-hoon and the recruiter. We already have intense scenes between the recruiter and I forgot the two characters, but it's the boss and basically the bitch of the boss, where they're doing the rock paper scissors and take one out, and they're doing Russian roulette with that. Do not recommend doing that. Obviously, don't do that at home. I feel like I don't have to say that. And then we find out a bit more about the recruiter, what type of person he is, what type of things does he do, and we find out the motivation of Gi-hoon. He had just won the games, billions of won, which amount to like $300 million. For some reason, I thought that it was more, and for some reason, a lot of people thought that it was more as well. Because in the season, when they start dividing the money, because they're like, if you decide to leave right now, you will get this much money, and it's like, oh, it's 200,000 won. That sounds like actually something great. $200,000 would not be nothing to walk away from. was like actually like 10K or something like that. Which, if you're going to be putting your life on the line for 10K and you have a debt like for 10K, not a lot of people would leave in that moment. So definitely doing that conversion was like, probably ain't doing enough money. If I do say so. A lot of people complain about the characters. Obviously, we have Top, which is Thanos in the show. He was a K-pop star, obviously fell into a few bad things. I'm not here to talk about those controversies and those things, but everyone deserves a second chance, and he gets that in the show, and I think that he does a very good job at the role that he is given. Obviously, we can't have the same characters that we had last season. Last season, we had some incredible characters. I loved seeing each and every one of them. Everyone had a different personality. We hated the villain of the show. The crazy lady. We either rooted for them in an extreme manner or we hated them. Sang-woo in the Marvel game, we started to dislike him. Why? Because he tricked one of our main characters, and he tricked someone that we were rooting for. What does that show me? That shows me that coming from that, it's gonna be very hard to mimic those types of characters, and that's where I say that this show kind of like took a bit of damage because the characters didn't live up to what it had. But if you look at the plot and you look at the premise, the only logical movement that this show could have was either end it in season 1 or go to a third season where he's actively trying to dismantle the games. It would make the most sense, and for me, it does make the most sense. The front man gets involved in the games, and so now he's also playing the games that they're playing. The red light, green light again. You can see how Sang-woo tries to save people. You can see how people don't believe him. You see all of these characters that are against what he's saying. And then you see the front man get into the games to try to prove something to Sang-woo, try to prove not Sang-woo, to Gi-hun. You try to see him prove a few things to him, and they're constantly battling psychologically, but you don't really see it. Why? Because he's actively trying to get people to leave the game, and then the people don't want to leave because they're like, okay, this dude's been here before, he knows what's going on, and the front man has the last vote. He ultimately votes to stay, but then he votes to leave, and there are less people that want to leave because of because of how the show has been. So obviously there's a lot going on in the show. There's a lot going on, and I think that is just a natural next step to the show. Do I like that it ends in a cliffhanger? No, I don't. Do I like some of the characters? Yes, I do. I think that some of these characters are great, and I think that it involves a lot of like obviously a lot of crypto scams. So now you have someone that scammed people out of crypto, and people hate him because now they're there because he scammed them out of crypto, and everything that happened, it feels a bit more modern, and it doesn't. It obviously already felt modern, but it feels like it's going with what's going on in the current climate of things, and it doesn't feel completely disconnected. We get to see how the guards get treated, how the guards live, and we get to see betrayal. We get to see all these things because it's just a natural progression to the next show. I don't know why Gi-hun didn't expect the front man to be in the people. Like, obviously there are more people in the game. Obviously there are going to be people that regulate the game from inside. I just don't know why he would trust someone that much and then go the stage of rebellion and then ultimately get caught. Which we've seen new promotional photos for season 3. I know that this video is going to start getting a bit long. We've seen new promotional photos for season 3. Obviously there's that cliffhanger at the end of season 2, so we already have something building to the next season. I think it's just going to be very interesting to see the payoff. For me, this season wasn't a complete season, and the reason being they wanted to end it in a cliffhanger. They wanted people to they wanted to revitalize the Squid Game name, and they wanted to bring a bridge to what is going to be the ending. The way that I want to see this is like a 3-act play. You have Act 1, you're introduced to the games, you're introduced to all of these things. Obviously, in their own regard, every season has their own structure. But if we're looking at it, it's season 1, he learns what the game is. In season 2, he's trying to dismantle the game. And in season 3, we're gonna get, does he dismantle it? Does he fail? We have the people on the outside, the detective with the fisherman, and the fisherman is evil. Like we have those things constantly going on, those constant battles, that I don't think that this show is going in the same direction as the original season, but because you can't. You have to move it a bit, because if you do the same tropes and if you do the same thing, it's just new games, but different characters, different things, people aren't going to like it. But since you're bringing back two of our beloved characters, and you're putting them in a different situation, it's new and it's fresh. For me, this is the natural step for the next season. I want to hear what you guys think about it. Obviously, that's just my opinion. We're all entitled to our opinions, and definitely in the comments, speak about what you guys believe. Are you guys excited for season 3? It comes out, I think, in June or July. Might be wrong about one of those, but I'm excited to see what comes next. Everyone have a great rest of your day. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one.